Everybody ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this meeting of the Horn Lake Board of Aldermen to order. As always, good government depends on the citizens being involved, and we certainly appreciate each and every one of you coming out tonight. At this time, I would like to call on Alderman Johnson for our invocation.
Let us bow. Heavenly Father, we come this evening to say thank you. Lord God, we thank you for all the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. God, I ask on tonight that you just help us to be wise in our decision making, Lord. Lord, help us to look out what's best for our city and for the citizens that we represent. God, I ask that you give us all a clean heart, a clean mind, a giving heart, God. Lord, I ask that you bless each representative that is here representing their household, their neighborhood. God, we just ask that you just be with us in these changing times. Bless our community. Bless each one of us one by one, Lord, and bless us as a whole. These things I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Very nice. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Alderman Young.
And salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Thank all of y'all. That sounded really nice. All right, first item on the agenda is the vote on the municipal docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Boston.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the municipal docket, excluding item 5E for further discussion.
E?
5E, under new business.
All right. All right. Is that okay with everyone? Okay.
That's fine.
Is that all right with everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
I second the motion.
All right. Motion by Alderman Bostic, second by Alderman Geis. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number 2 on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through M.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis.
Mayor. I'll second.
We have a second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Alderman Dupree.
No.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right. Next on the agenda is the claims docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Who?
Right here.
Alderman Geis.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the claims docket. If long as funds are budgeted and available. General Fund, $284,736.38. The bond funded cap project expense, $9,619.50. The library fund, $1,705. The economic development fund, $2,261.34. The utility fund, $66,579.08, for a total docket of $364,901.30.
Motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Who? Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number 4, special guest and presentation. Letter A, we're honored to have some representatives from the First Regional Library and appear to ask us for some funding for our local library, MRDI Library, which is a great asset to our community.
I'm glad
Good
to hear you
evening.
say that, Mayor. We think that it is too. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Lori Barnes. I'm the brand new director of the First Regional Library System. I started July 1st, so I'm thrilled to be here with you all this evening. I also want to begin by expressing my gratitude to all of you on behalf of the library system and the Board of Trustees and the library staff for your continued financial support from the city of Horn Lake. I'm here today with Jennifer Stevenson, who is passing out the handout. Nancy Anderson, our business manager, is also with us, as well as Deborah Gilbert, who is here. She is the branch leader of the library, and so she's going to give a brief talk about what's been going on the last year at the library. Go ahead.
Good evening, Ms. Gilbert.
Good evening.
Good to see you,
evening,
ma'am.
Mayor. This is definitely an honor to be able to stand before you to let you know that we have a wonderful library here at Horn Lake. We have been very busy this summer, just having wonderful programs. We have been Zoom programs that are just exciting for our community. And I would like everybody to know you can go back and watch those programs that we've had on our website at www.firstregional.org. And we're just excited to have our community with a wonderful library. We have our computers up and running. We have our patrons that come by that need computer services. And we are here to serve this community, the community that we love. And we just thank you all for your continued support.
Thank you, ma'am. Did anyone have any comments or questions for Ms. Gilbert?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
I just want to say thank you to you all for the valuable asset that you provide to our community. So many of our children and just as citizens as whole visit the library. There's a need for it, not just that it's there, but there is a definite need for that. And you all know with a book you can go anywhere.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate it. I thank you for your services that you render there. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I also want to commend Deborah and her staff. They've done a remarkable job this summer, especially trying to be creative in times of COVID and getting services for our children, making take kits that they can take home, virtual programming. They've done an excellent job, so kudos to Deborah and her staff. They've done a great job. Also, I wanted you to know that achieving great accomplishments, such as being named a Star Library in Mississippi, which First Regional recently was named a Star Library in our state, would not be possible without the ongoing financial contribution that you give the library. I'm also really proud to announce that all the libraries in our system have been restored to their pre-COVID hours. So we're offering the same number of hours that we were before COVID, and I'm very, very happy to be able to announce that. I also wanted you to take a look. We provided you with this flyer. And if you take a look at this side that says First Regional Library at the top, you'll see some of our system-wide statistics so that you can see exactly what our users have been doing the last year. Wi-Fi is available at all of our branches and has been used just under 400,000 times during that time period. Wi-Fi mobile hotspots have been checked out over 1,800 times. Our digital materials have been checked out over 70,000 times. And for the annual summer reading program, we gave away over 15,000 books to children and teens. This summer, we're offering over 250 virtual programs to all people of all ages. And we've also issued 4,346 new digital library cards. So that was since March 2020. So we are still serving, even though COVID has made it a little bit difficult to do so. We don't know what the future holds, of course, with this Delta variant, but we're very optimistic. I would like to close at this time by respectfully asking the Horn Lake City officials for level funding of $127,500 for fiscal year 2022 for the First Regional Library System. So thank you very much. Does anyone have any comments or any questions?
That's the same amount as the
Yes,
last
sir.
year.
It's level, yeah, we're asking for level funding.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Well, y'all do a wonderful job, and we're very fortunate to have the library and the staff of the library here at Horn Lake.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank
Great
y'all
to see
very
you.
much.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Letter B is Mr. David Engel with Fontenberry and Ballard. They are doing our audit. Mr. David Engel, please, sir.
Well, we've been doing your audit for a while, it seems. It seems quite long these days, but good news for all of you, we're getting close. We're just about there. I'm going to try my best to present an audit report here next month. So we'll finally have the 2019 audit done. But there were a few hiccups, to say the least, in getting this 2019 out. And I'll be happy to open the floor to any questions you have as far as that goes. And just there's some system things we had to kind of get adjusted and get back on track, because there was a possibility I could have given you an audit about a year ago, but let's just say you would not have liked the report at all, because some of the numbers we could not really substantiate as well as we would want to. It would have ended up being it would have been an otherwise, other than unmodified opinion to your audit report. So I did want to, I'd presented that information to Jim, and I think he presented it to you, and we kind of decided, I guess, to kind of get everything kind of straightened out, and I think we're at that point now. The records I've received recently, they're straightened out, and we are at the point now where we can get this thing finished and done once and for all and get on to 2020.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody here have any questions or comments?
Mayor.
Mr. David?
Mayor,
Alderman Young.
first off, thank you for everything you've done straightening out the mess we were in,
You're
those
welcome.
numbers. It's hard sometimes to make 1 and 1 equal 2.
Right.
You said you'll, next month, is it the first of the month, end of the month, 15th of the month?
I am looking for the first board meeting.
First board meeting, I like that,
That's-
okay.
I'm gonna put my neck out there.
All right, good. So when we get this audit,
Yes.
the first board meeting of next month, how soon will you be able to turn around and start on the other one?
That's the good question right there. Of course, we've got to get, y'all have I don't know if y'all will hire a preparer to kind of help get your books adjusted for 2020, because you'll have to get the accrual entries put into the books for that year. And once we get that done, more or less, we can start at that point.
Okay, the next question is, we're rolling into 21's going away.
Exactly.
I mean, October's looking us in the face.
Right, yes, 2021, I think y'all are going to want that out by June 30th at the latest.
I
Since
would
y'all will
ask-
probably have a single audit.
And I'm sure Mr. Robinson has already done this, but I, speaking for myself and hopefully the rest of the board members, as soon as possible, we need these
Right.
cranked up, cranked out, and spit out and given to the mayor. And we've got to maintain our bond rating. We've got to
Absolutely.
do that, and it's on your shoulders to make that happen.
Right
At this
now, I'm
point,
signed through
and
19, so it'd be a matter of getting another contract from 20 and 21.
That's all of us pointing at you.
Yes, I know, but I'm not signed for 2020 either, so
Right.
we'll have to address that also.
It's hot. It's a hot topic. We need
Yes,
to handle,
I
and I'm very confident you can do it. I mean, I'm sure we'll get you whatever you need, but just keep us like you have been in the loop of what's going on.
Well, the good news is right now we've got it to a point where we've got a good starting point so we can get to 20. And I think Jim told me y'all are getting a new finance director
Yes.
in, and as long as we can get them at a good starting point, I think this thing will start moving again.
Yes, she's got some good history behind her, so I'm very looking forward to that. But if we can do anything personally,
Yes.
it's a hot topic right here.
Oh, I know.
I want.
I had Hernando too, so I know.
Right, I want that. Yeah, Hernando's as well.
It was
But,
even hotter over there.
I'm worried about these city limits.
Yes,
We
I know.
need those done immediately, if not sooner.
Right. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else have any questions, comments?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
could you tell us more about the process? We know that it is an audit, Can you explain to us and those who may be listening or watching exactly what you're doing, please?
Okay, what we're doing, we are putting together a set of financial statements and an audit report. We are reporting that the figures that you provide as the city are reasonable, and the amounts and the information in the audit can be relied upon. And really, that was the issue number one, as far as just getting a reliable set of numbers. We're right now at that point. I wanted to make sure we had that. But that's just the nuts and bolts right there. As far as the process, we do some test work. We test some various receipts in offices. We look at your expenditures. We confirm your revenues that come in. We make sure your reconciling items match up with your books, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is that all right, Alderman?
Yes, sir.
Alderman Bostic.
Yeah, I just have one question. You said there were some hiccups along the way. Is it something that we as a city, working with different programs in each department, having the issue of trying to compile all that together, or is it something that we
Programs
need to look at?
it's a part of it. Sometimes it's what's put in there. Sometimes the information you were given to be put in there sometimes doesn't get put in correctly, so to speak, and you might have to go in there and untangle it. There's a lot of pieces to this that has caused this to be late, but that's a couple of them right there. And of course, I know there's been a financial person or two here, just kind of, y'all have had a little rotation with that, and then y'all have had, I think y'all got a CPA now that's straightening that out, and I think she straightened out 19 for you, so that she'll be of great assistance to whomever y'all bring in, and y'all should be at a good point. For whatever reason, what I inherited for 19, it wasn't where it needed to be.
Well, in your conclusion, when you get through with the audit, I know most of the auditors, they'll have a paragraph at the end with suggestions of what we can do to where
Yes, there'll be maybe an audit finding or two in there, and a lot of this and the time lag between getting the audit done was to address this and make sure we had everything right. A lot of the findings that I had originally written, they were going to be due to just the records that I was presented. But since we've got a lot of that taken care of, I think there'll be a lot less of them too. And plus, you'll have, and I told Jim already, you'll have an unqualified audit opinion for this audit.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I want to make sure you did that.
Anybody else have any? Alderman Geis.
When you make that presentation to us, could you put in there what those hiccups were so we don't have them ever again?
I could. Some of that, I mean, it's not going to be audit findings. There were some systems, but I'll go over each one and just kind of give you just the Cliff Notes version of it.
Yes, sir.
I'll do that.
We'd like to have that.
Sure. But for your information, I think y'all are on the road to
Yes, sir.
getting it.
I didn't hear that last comment.
Y'all, you're pretty much on the road to getting it taken care of, everything right now.
Great.
So I want you to
I know
that.
you worked awful hard on it, and we certainly appreciate that, Mr. David.
Yeah, I know Jim's consumed a lot of Tums recently.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? He drove all the way up here from Gluckstadt to appear before y'all in case you had any comments or questions. And so we certainly appreciate you making that long trip up here.
Not a problem, Mayor. It's part of your fee.
Are you saying it's going to be added on?
Oh, no. You've already got it.
Mayor, he didn't bring any Whataburgers. Kick that fee back.
If there's no more discussion, if there are no more questions, Mr. David, thank you for
You're
making
welcome.
this extra effort for us.
I'm going to try to be back here next month and give you the report right here.
Well, and you said unqualified.
Good job.
Unqualified.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're down to number 5, resolution for cleaning private property, which is a public hearing. which I now declare open. I'm running out of room back here with so much paper. All right. A resolution for cleaning private property. I mean, there's some properties that the citizens or businesses would not maintain or clean up on their own. This will authorize the city to go in there and do it, and the property owners will be billed. Is there anyone in the audience to speak yea or nay on any of these properties? Anyone? There being none, this public hearing is now closed. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to approve the resolution for cleaning private property as listed.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right. The next thing, letter B, under Roman numeral 5, is a request for a budget transfer in the fire department. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the budget transfer in the fire department.
A motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second to the motion?
Mayor. I'll second.
Alderman Dupree seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right. Letter C. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
I'd like to request to approve payment of pay estimate number 2 to Excavators, Inc. for the two-lane bridge replacement in the amount of $58,080.63.
We have a motion by Alderman Johnson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Mr. Malavasi, I know you've been checking on this bridge. Is this figure, this money okay with you there at that point?
Yes, sir. We've checked the work done, and it has been done in accordance with plan and specs, and we do agree with their application here.
Yes, sir. Anybody have any questions or comments on this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. We're down to letter D. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
I'd like to request to approve the revised accounts payable receivable job description.
We have a motion by Alderman Johnson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Alderman Geis makes the second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter E, at the request of Alderman Bostic and the agreement of the rest of the board members, is now in executive session. All right. Number 6, Mayor Alderman correspondence.
Well, there's F.
F. Mr. F.
What is F? I don't- All right. All right. Do we have a motion for letter F?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
I'd like to motion to request to hire and move Crystal Jackson from the utility department to the accounts payable receivable clerk in the finance department at the rate of $17 per hour.
Motion by Alderman Johnson. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Was that you, Alderman Guys?
To your left.
Who?
Dupree.
Alderman Dupree makes the second. Motion by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Guys.
I just have one question on it. This is a hire internally that's transferred. Was it opened up to everybody to apply for? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Any more questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. May I see that, please, sir? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Campbell. We're now down to number 6. Letter A is discussion on ordinance 90-06-11, section 2-59, citizens addressing the mayor and the board of aldermen. I'm sure y'all have looked in your packet there.
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
if nobody has any discussion or they want to do, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance providing for citizens' remark sections on the agendas of municipal docket effective in 30 days from today.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
Mayor, I have one question on it.
Yes, sir.
I like what I read in the ordinance. It looks good. But is it feasible before we approve an ordinance and put it on the books to try it out for a board meeting or two and see if we need to tweak it at all before we approve it? Is that legal?
It is, Alderman Geis. The only thing we're doing in the ordinance is approving the section on the agenda.
Okay.
We're going to come back and actually approve the guidelines that we prepared.
Do that.
Yes, sir. And so you're free to tweak those guidelines at any meeting, and it won't require an ordinance amendment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mayor, second.
Alderman Young makes the second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. We didn't even have to do number 2, do we?
Yes, sir. That's what I was referring to with Alderman
Okay.
Geis. We're going to, assuming the board or you, Mayor, don't have any revisions to those remarks guidelines, we need to approve or adopt them tonight.
Has everyone had a chance to look over them? Did anybody want to make any suggestions or any changes or have any questions?
This would be the time to say, hey, let's do it a trial period of a couple of months? No?
My suggestion was if you want to change anything, if something doesn't work in these guidelines and we need to change it, you're free to change it at any board meeting because it doesn't require an ordinance amendment.
I do have some concerns that, in the next few months, maybe some abuse. And if that occurs, I want to be able to make sure that we can tweak that.
Absolutely.
Just a general highlight, there will be 30 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, a limit on 10 speakers. Each person is allowed just 3 minutes. My concern with this, I always like to hear from citizens, but my concern was it would catch the department heads and the aldermen cold. You might, because a lot of citizens, I feel like, or some, would come up here expecting an answer. And you can't make a decision, look up the material, and come back with a response in 3 minutes. So this period is to hear the concerns of the citizens. They are to present those concerns to the board. Does anybody else have any comments or questions?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
I agree with you, and for an example, just like at our last board meeting, we had 3 individuals that came forward that were disgruntled with the fireworks ordinance. They spoke their piece, we listened to what they said, we took it under advisements, and that's the next thing on the budget, or on the agenda. So I'm hoping that when the people come to us and talk to us, they'll have the same concern and the same consideration that these 3 people did. I feel they will, because they're being given an opportunity to actually speak to us. We put on our pants just like they do. I think it's an opportunity, and if for some reason it doesn't work, we can always go back and remend it and go away from it and go back to the old way. But I think with the people of the city of Horn Lake, I think they're smart enough to understand the difference of being nice and cordial and understanding that we're not going to have an answer right then. But give us time, we'll put it in a sieve and come up with an answer. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great opportunity.
And of course, any citizen at any time can contact your alderman or this office. You're not limited just to that one little 30-minute occasion every 2 weeks. Anybody else have any questions or comments? We had a motion, didn't we?
Yeah. Not yet, Mr. Mayor.
That's it.
Yeah.
We had a motion by Alderman Bostic. We hadn't had a second yet. Is there a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree seconds the motion. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right. Letter B is discussion on the ordinance 97-01-64, Section 2, Section 1-28-1997, Section 16-65, and the regulations. All right, fireworks, their use and discharge in the city of Horn Lake. The board heard several citizens last board meeting. Did y'all want to have any comments from people in the audience now?
No, I'd like to say something if I could.
All right, is that everybody on the
I didn't hear what he said.
Alderman Bostic wanted to make a few remarks. Does anyone object to that? Alderman Bostic.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing that we've all discussed of trying to make some adjustments to the fireworks code, and what I did at the last meeting was kind of lay out some of the things that I would like to do, and what I would like to suggest, and I probably should have made this suggestion in the last meeting, is for each alderman to make some kind of guidelines. Alderman Young put his together here. He's handed it to all of us. And his suggestion, and when I'm talking to him, was if we could all kind of put everything together and send it out to each other to kind of see where we all are, to where we can tweak what we can do to make it safe for the citizens. And that would be my suggestion before we just have an open meeting about fireworks. If we could all come back and maybe shoot an email to each other of guidelines like Mr. Young put together for us, and that I did at the meeting last meeting.
All right, sir. I see Mr. Wilson, one of our vendors, is out there. He didn't get the opportunity to address the board at the last meeting. Did anyone object to Mr. Wilson stepping up to the microphone?
No.
Anyone object? Mr. Wilson. I see you have a distinguished Hernando attorney with you tonight.
I was afraid that was Bruno.
How's Mr. Bob Lee doing?
He's doing pretty good.
Is he? Please tell him hello for me, if you would. Mr. Wilson.
This is Mr. Paul Scott. He's been our attorney for over 50 years now. Don't show any age, but I would like for him to, if there's any legal questions pertaining to fireworks, he would be good to answer those. May I add on to Mr. Bostic's response? Before, I would like for everybody to engage also, all the aldermen to engage in somewhat of a menu board, so to speak, of what y'all would like. But in all fairness, before that ordinance is brought, it would only be fair for the people that I have 52 years experience in the fireworks business, It would only be fair if we made comments to those responses. We also have some things that we would like to add for the vendors to come up a little higher on their standards. So we're not opposed to what you might recommend, but we would certainly like for Paul to look at it, and we would like to look at it to make sure it's legitimate. For example, there was one thing that Mr. Bostic said that if there's any foul play at all or one provision that was not carried out to its full and exact experience, that you're out of business. Well, I hate to tell you this, that is not legal. For example, if there was a minor that was served at a convenience store for buying beer, there's a fine and penalty, but he's not out of business. I mean, that's unreasonable. We could never agree to anything like that, and it's illegal.
I would just say, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, Mr. Wilson's been a business citizen of the city of Horn Lake for 40 years plus. I mean, he's been in business here, and he runs his business in a responsible way. And I wasn't here at last meeting, but I did watch the video of it, so I heard what the people had to say, and I heard what the concerns were. And a lot of those concerns can be addressed, but you know, our concern would be that the solution doesn't create a problem, or the solution addresses the problem that the complaints were. And I heard multiple members of the board were saying, were commenting on parental guidance and that type of thing that needed to be involved. And certainly that's the case. There may be some changes need to be made in the ordinance, but the ordinance doesn't need to be changed to the point that it puts legitimate small businesses out of business. And so we just want to say to you, as you consider this, that you consider the fact that you know, there's a business interest inside this too. And I know it came up at the meeting 2 weeks ago that, you know, there are tax revenues to the city. There are a lot of things that people they're going to buy fireworks, they're going to shoot fireworks. Fireworks go back to the founding of our country. They're going to be there. And penalizing a local business that's trying to do the right thing and trying to run his business the way it's supposed to be done in order to try to stop a problem that won't fix would be the wrong approach, we think. So that's what we would just say, that in whatever the board considers, we ask you to take that in consideration, and we would like to have some input on. I mean, there's some misconceptions about what the fireworks that are sold, what types of fireworks they are, and that type of thing. And if there are things that we can do to do better, to help with this problem, then certainly that's something we'll have to take a look at. But we don't want to we just urge you not to. I mean, I know there were phone calls and there, you know, people upset about fireworks, and the people who don't want them strenuously. I understand that. But there's a lot of people out there that bought them, and there were a lot of people out there shooting them. So I just urge you to take a little time and look at all the sides of this, and we would like to have some input in that process.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Scott or for Mr. Wilson?
I would like to add where I stand on this in regards to educating the public. And where do you would stand on it, Mr. Wilson, as far as help educate the city people? I think I made the suggestion of vendors leasing the billboard, the only billboard in town, and during the period that you're selling, and they're firing them. Is that something is doable?
Absolutely, and we can do some public service announcements. And I'm working on a lot of things for Horn Lake. Besides that, one of the things I am working on is for a possible new billboard at the interstate. We're working with a company now to do a digital one. If you'll notice, South Haven just got a brand new one. And I'm working on getting a new digital billboard for Horn Lake. Now, I know it's in the ordinance, you can't have billboards.
Right.
But it's something you may want to take a look at. I don't want South Haven to get ahead of us. This is something I've been fighting for 40 years, not just for fireworks, but for various other things. And we would be able, I've already talked to the billboard company, it's about a $750,000 investment, and he would put public service announcements on there, not only for fireworks, but he would do it for special events that Horn Lake would have at no charge. No charge to Horn Lake would be a charge to me. But I think it's a great thing that we're working on now. It's going to take a few months, maybe even a year to get it done, but it's something we're working on. But we're for any type of education that we can do. One of the things we could do, Alderman, is we could print on the bag, there's like 10 important safety rules, and we could print that on the bag along with the hours that you're going to allow for the shooting. So that's one thing that would not be any question, did they receive it or not. If they bought it and it was put in a bag, then they've got that information on there. So we can do a lot of information on these bags. We just need some time to do it, and we can do it before December.
And I believe when I asked you, because Alderman Bostic had a very good suggestion about training your staff. I think you told me y'all already do that. You already train your staff.
Good point. We do. We have a full-day seminar every season for the managers, the old managers, some of the new managers. We've had some as 6 years that's worked their way through the fireworks system. One comment you probably doesn't make, we really are the good guys that wear the white hat. I didn't have money to go to college. My dad said create a business. I did get in the fireworks business. We hold each fireworks manager here in Horn Lake and everywhere else that they have to be a college student or high school student going into college, and we pay a very, very, very large percentage of their tuition. We've had people that's worked all the way through master's degrees in college, so we do a lot more than I want to sit here and pat myself on the heart of what we do. So what y'all see is a very insignificant part of it, but we have a staff that works year-round on the fireworks business, rules, regulations, what we should do, shouldn't do. So if you want to think we're fly-by-night, I think you may want to take another look at us.
You have nowhere to run to. This is your home.
This is my home.
Yes, sir. And you've always been more than generous in supporting the community. Does anyone else have any questions? Alderman Bledsoe, I believe one time you had an idea about that sign.
That's what I was going to get with Mr. Wilson. We had a company come up, and the other board couldn't seem to get it worked out. They would provide two for the ball fields, one at each entrance, then put one out here somewhere, but we'd have to have it on city property or much land as you own. Maybe we could get some of your land. And it probably wouldn't cost you as much that way. So I need to get with you. The guy comes out of Starkville, and they got a company, and they do this. And that's what I was going to do with safety, like a tornado's in the area, go duck or whatever. That's what I wanted to put on the board, or thunderstorm warning, and then happy birthday, 90th birthday, Mayor Latimer.
That's right. We're in agreement.
You're out of order. You're out of order.
Not much. But then you can make money out of it. The guy, I let him talk to you because he made it sound good. First, you pay the boards, and then everything comes in is yours or ours or cities. So I think it worked pretty good. It's a win-win for Horn Lake.
Alderman Bledsoe, we'd be glad to entertain that and talk with him and see what we can do to better the city. That's our goal and objective.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
First off, I want to say, Mr. Wilson, I went to several different fireworks stands, and yours was, and I'm not saying it because you're standing there, but they were run correctly. They were clean, and it was nice. I don't think anybody on this board, and if I'm wrong, y'all throw something at me, just not hard. I don't think anybody, we want to make it a fair playing field for your competition and you as well, that everybody is in compliance with whatever these individuals come up with. I think having a roundtable discussion and talking about it is a great idea. I like it. As Alderman Bostic said earlier, I do have a plan. I've talked to Alderman here, and he has an idea, and I would like to do this if I can, Mayor. I'd like to motion that we table this until as what time Jim can put it on the docket again. I would like to send letters to the other companies that sit in Horn Lake, and I want them at that meeting. I want them here when we make the vote. I want to see them like we've seen this guy. I want to hear their side. I want to hear them. If he's got the time, they better have the time. I would like to ask each alderman, alder lady, to please come up with a plan, whatever you think. And we don't have to do it in 2 weeks or 4 weeks. I mean, we really don't have to look at this until about the end of October, really, to make a decision and slam the gavel. But I think we need to come up, because my idea is to do it one time. We've revisited this for the last 3 years, I believe. We've rehashed and rehashed and rehashed. And I think we're smart enough, and the people of Horn Lake expect us to be smart enough to come up with a plan that's going to work, that's going to serve the public, that's going to serve the city. Do it once, get it done, and move on. And I think that's going to take all of us and all of them somewhere, somehow, however Mr. Billy thinks that can be worked out, and discuss it and get it done, and just get it done for the city. And I just want to table it until such time as Mr. Robinson brings it back to the docket, that we feel that everybody has their say or whatever, has their idea, and let's just put it in a sieve and see what comes out of the bottom to make it fair. I just don't want a pop-up to come into Horn Lake and start selling fireworks when this guy's done all his due diligence, or his other guy B or girl B, has done their due diligence, and all of a sudden they just pop up and say, oh, we didn't know nothing about it. We just want to sell fireworks. That's not fair. So I just think that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to make that motion. We just table it until such time as we can move forward and make the correct decision.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. Do we have a second?
No, I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bledsoe.
one thing about our discussions, are we gonna have like we had before, where kind of meet one day and everybody sit down and talk? Billy, can you do that?
Open meetings law.
You can, Alderman Bledsoe, just have to be at a notice meeting, whether it's a special called or a regular meeting or a recessed meeting.
Okay, because that's what I'd like to put in there.
That's what I'd like to do.
Because I want everybody there, and if he has a problem with what I said, because when they was talking about the dogs and stuff, you know, the fireworks, I talked to a few shelters. They play music at night when the fireworks are going off, and it kind of soothes the dogs and stuff. But things like that might help. You know, I got a cat, so he runs up the tree. I get it tomorrow.
I think that's an excellent idea, sir. It is. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Well, I'm still a little confused. Someone's gonna call a meeting for us to get together?
Yes, sir.
It just has to be open to the public. Is that correct?
And it has to be open to the public?
Yeah. So we can have a separate meeting.
It's a separate meeting, just strictly for fireworks?
Yeah.
It'll be a
So
special
it's kind of like
meeting.
a committee meeting. So who would chair that, or would run it? Mayor?
Mayor.
Okay. All righty.
Well, I think it would be,
Sir?
I think it would be fair for him, us, and the citizens, that we sit around and talk about it, instead of, well, I heard so-and-so, you know, I don't like hearsay stuff. I
No.
like facts. So.
No, but to comply with the law, it has to be a meeting. It has to be an open meeting and open to the public. And remember, we have that great gift by Attorney General Hood, or the rolling quorum that's prohibited. Does anyone else have any comments or questions?
Mr. Wilson, did you have anything else? I thought he had raised his hand.
Mr. Wilson.
I just want to be a part of the meeting, and I also want to put some more stringent regulations in there that's going to be helpful for all the vendors, and it'll be helpful for the patrons. For example, when they drive up to the fireworks location, we want to make sure that there's 10 parking spaces. We want to make sure they're either asphalt or limestone. No helter-skelter type situations to where they don't even have any gravel on the lot. That's an insult to everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It is, sir. And going back to what you said about helping with education, I've got a dear friend who got his master's degree, and he worked in he taught at one of the schools in the county. he worked at one of your stands to make his extra money. So I know he appreciates it very much too. Anyone else have any comments or questions?
Last thing, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
When we do this, Mr. Wilson, we'll know be there. We gotta make sure those other guys show up too, because we'd like to hear from them and they need to hear from us. Like, he's dedicated to Horn Lake. Okay, let the other people come and tell us how they feel. I hadn't seen the guy, so, you know.
We have their permit applications.
Yes.
With their names and addresses on them, yes, sir.
Maybe he can contact them when we do have a meeting.
We can get Miss Tammy to look them up. Good luck. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
as Mr. Wilson has stated, he and his company are really behind Horn Lake. They are for Horn Lake and about Horn Lake. And I was trying to save this until the alderman got a chance to speak. However, Mr. Wilson and Mr. Smith have donated very generously to our schools here in Horn Lake. They've also, will also be rendering services that I didn't even ask for. They asked me what I wanted and how I wanted things done, just jumping right in, not just for show, because our community needs it. So I definitely applaud you guys for not just being about, the business of making money, for rolling your sleeves up and jumping in to help us out. I appreciate that, and even when you said that this is just a small part of what you do, I actually believe it. I've seen it. I experience it. And so will the students and families here in Horn Lake. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. Anyone else have any comments or questions? We have a motion. We have a second. We need a roll call, please, Mr.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Scott, please, Mr. Scott, if you would, please tell Mr. Bob hello for me. I haven't seen him out and around, and I just hope he's doing okay.
I'll be sure and do that. I'll look him up.
Thank you, sir. First time I've seen you in a coat and tie, Mr. Scott.
It's been a while.
All right. Going on down. This is just for your information and approval. This came up rather quickly. For the benefit of the new members of the board, there was an item involving a piece of property that's in South Haven, but access to it through to Soda Cove Road, right there where you go around by Memphis Barbecue, go back through there. And the board approved letting them hook into our street, and the developer is willing to pay up to $185,000 for a traffic light at DeSoto Cove and Interstate Boulevard. All right, and the second thing is the big warehouse on Nail Road. They're requesting the possibility of a traffic light between the railroad track and Highway 51. And what I'd like to ask the board, if you would consider, we engage Mr. Malavasi to do basically a little traffic study, get his ideas to see if those are really feasible and if they're really safe, and to ask the other merchants up there around Home Depot, Target, Texas Roadhouse, what's their opinion on this traffic light. Is anybody have any objections to that? Alderman Boston.
So you're asking us to approve for him to do a feasibility study?
Yes, sir.
At what cost?
I don't know. And I thought maybe you might go over there and look, listen to them, then get an idea of what we might need and come back to the board with a cost on there. Can you do that, Mr. Vince?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That would be something we could certainly do. as far as just coming up with a feasibility study, I don't think we'd go that far. I think we'd probably just hear what they have to say at this point and understand what their concept is, and then come back to the board and say, this is something that we would probably recommend or not. And if so, they would probably, at that point, would need to do a traffic analysis to determine if there's a warrant for that study, and we couldn't do that, obviously, because, we're working for the cities, therefore we'd have to approve our own work,
Yeah.
So, we would have to, at that time, have to get another firm to look at that and determine if the traffic light is warranted based on MDOT criteria.
I don't believe we need a motion then, Mr. Billy, just to let him go up there and start planning it out if it was all right with the board.
Yeah, I think you can do that under your general services agreement.
Yeah.
Does anybody on the board object to that?
No, I was just wanting more information about what we're doing here, other than get a full understanding of what we're doing.
It kind of popped up, and
Okay.
where the lights are inquiring about, just need for somebody to look and see, are they going to be safe? Will they help the flow of traffic, or will they hinder the flow of traffic? Some things we need an expert opinion on.
Okay.
All right, going on down. Department head correspondence. I trust each of you have received your...
Mr. Mayor, I hate to butt in, but it may be wise just to make sure the aldermen don't have anything else that they want to discuss under alderman correspondence that wasn't listed.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions or anything? Alderman Geist, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. In the last board meeting, we discovered that it's possible in Ravenwood, sections D and E, that the prior builder didn't pay all their fees. So I was wanting to make a motion to let the city finance department and planning departments do some research and see if, in fact, those fees were paid or not, and if not, bring that information back to us so we can decide how we want to proceed.
Yes, sir. We have a motion by Alderman Geist. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. I know I spoke to Mr. Campbell about that. Mr. Campbell pointed out that it's certainly worth a try. It might be like finding a needle in a haystack from that far back, but it's certainly worth a try.
Yes, sir. I think we would need to do the due diligence for the taxpayers.
Yes, sir.
And please see if it was paid or not.
All right. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geist.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right, get back on, before we get on the Alderman correspondence, because you might want to respond to this, you have a letter you should have received about a reception for the congressional staff. You will notice in there that you have to RSVP to it. If you do not RSVP, they're not going to let you attend, the congressional staff. All right. Alderman Bledsoe.
I'd like to make a motion, give Jim the authority to purchase these chairs everybody had a consensus on to buy for the board, or however many he said he's got right here.
How much are they, sir?
Not to exceed $400 for a chair.
Oh, all right, sir.
But these chairs here, they should have been in the junk pile a long time ago. So, anyway, that's my motion.
Yes, sir. We have a motion by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have a second?
Now, second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geist.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Alderman Klein, do you have anything for the board tonight, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Anything else, Alderman Bledsoe?
I'd just like to thank Mr. Wilson for his donation for all the stuff. I know he's gone now, but that was quite a generous thing. We've talked about it before, and then all of a sudden it came up, and he said, "Oh, that's a good idea." So anyway,
Well, Mr. Wilson pointed out to me that they normally try to help one thing a year big in the county, and he said it wasn't his idea about Horn Lake. He was approached by someone from Horn Lake who had been raised hard and talked about how much they would needed some help with these school supplies, and he said, well, that'll be our project for the year then. Alderman Geis, anything else, sir?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to thank Ms. Linville, Mr. Box for helping at the shelter this weekend when the power went out and all the animals in there were overheating. They did an excellent job getting that emergency situation taken care of.
Great, they certainly did.
And I think did the fire department bring some fans over there?
I think about generators, didn't they?
Thank you.
Yeah, they took some fans, we took a generator too.
We appreciate your help too.
Got a call.
Alderman Bostic.
I'm good.
Alderman Johnson.
Yes, sir. Just want to thank everyone for your generous donations for our school supply drive. They will be handed out on this Saturday. We will be at Horn Lake Intermediate School. All the schools in Horn Lake will be there this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock for Back to School Bash. And so we certainly appreciate the donations that everyone has given. If you still want to give, the door never closes to donations. So we'll always take them. There is always a need. If you all have children, grandchildren, anyone that's in Horn Lake schools, come on out Saturday morning and join us. If you would like to volunteer, there's certainly an opportunity there as well. I certainly appreciate everything that everyone has done for our event that we'll have.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you making that donations of 365 days a year. Thank you. Alderman Dupree.
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Alderman Young.
The only thing I have is I just want to thank my wife and Alderman Johnson for spearheading that donation drive. Y'all did a great job and to be commended for that. And it is absolutely 365 days a year. They're our future of Horn Lake, and let's just make it bigger and better next year. Thank you, everybody who donated.
Definitely. Chief Rao, you have anything for the board, sir?
No, sir, Mayor, I don't have anything tonight.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Chief Rao? Mr. Gary, you have anything for the board, sir?
Not at this time.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Gary? Chief Linville, do you have anything for the board, sir?
No, sir.
Anybody, questions or comments for Chief Linville? Mr. Drew, do you have anything, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. I don't have anything tonight, sir.
Anyone have questions or comments for Mr. Coleman? Mr. Malavasi.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update on our ongoing projects. We have basically 4 projects in construction right now. One is the two-lane bridge project, which, if you've been by there recently, they are making pretty good progress there. They've got the walls that are ready to be formed up. They're at a point where it's kind of slow going because it's really labor intensive to get that steel put in there and before they pour the concrete. So they are on schedule still as far as their contract goes. Their contract ends September 28th. We were hoping they would be through a little bit earlier, obviously because of school and all, but weather kind of caught them there to some degree. So they are pushing it forward to get it done ASAP. But I'm thinking that we're going to be closer to September 28th than we are school. The other project is the street rehab phase 3. They're presently milling on Dunbarton and a portion of 2 lane just north of Dunbarton. They are overlaying that, like I said, and should be finished with that tomorrow. Once they finish there, they'll move to Crutcher Heights area, which they've been working a little bit on as far as milling and reclaiming the asphalt there to provide a base to mill on. Then we've got parking lots for the fire station. They just completed Highway 51, station number 2 today, and the only thing they lack there is striping. They typically have to wait about 7 days before they come back and stripe it. And then they'll be moving to number 1 on 2 Lane Road Friday. So they'll continue to work and get those 3 stations probably complete by next week, in next week. Striping plan, I don't know if you noticed that, it's going on mainly on Nail Road and Interstate Boulevard. They are going to be making a few changes at the westbound portion of Nail Road at the intersection of 51, which I know it will add some additional capacity to the left turn movements there, and so that'll help. And then future projects, we've got the street management program that we've been talking about, that we are presently working on that to develop a overall city map, GIS map, so that we can turn over to the sub-consultant that will be doing the actual data collection. So once we get that, we'll turn them loose. They'll start riding the streets and collecting the data. And hopefully we'll have a majority of that data collection done by the end of September. And then one other thing on future projects is just today, we received notice that we received funding for one of the NRCS projects off of Church Road. I guess, how would you describe that, Mayor? Affectionately as the Bird property there.
Basically, most of Mr. Bird's property is from and some others, and it goes from the railroad track west on the south side of Church Road. And I appreciate all the work you've done to get that approved. You made a lot of trips down there. Thank you.
Yes, sir, and that's just one project. That's one that just got funded. We've got about 5 or 6 more in the hopper. And just to let you know what we're talking about, is when I say NRCS, that's basically an agency that funds what we call erosion control projects, which is basically what these riprap projects you see around town. So if there's any areas that you guys know about that we'd like to maybe address, you can either let myself know or let someone in Public Works know. And because that's what we did, we make a kind of a list, and every time they get federal funding, it falls out, and we start, attacking these projects. So we keep a list of those, and pending funding, we'll start those.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the good news.
Yes, sir.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Malavasi? Alderman Dupree.
Yes. When will Crutcher Heights begin the work on it?
Crutcher Heights, they'll start. They're working in there now. They were working there today doing some milling, I think. But paving should start probably tomorrow.
Oh, good. That's good. Thank you.
Anything else, sir? Okay. Anybody else?
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
I failed to say something when you asked about correspondence, and I don't know if you recognize, but we have a distinguished guest.
We do. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alderman Johnson. You make the announcement. We're honored to have our state representative. You do it, sir. Ma'am. No, you do it.
I was just going to say that we have visiting us on tonight, our representative, Hester Jackson McCrae, is in the audience. Would you stand, ma'am?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
We certainly do thank you for attending and for your help in Jackson. We'll be calling you pretty often. Ms. AJ, did you have anything for the night? Anyone have any questions or comments from Ms. AJ? Mr. Robinson, did you have anything, sir?
I was just going to add to what Mr. Vince was talking about. That funding was $66,886 is what we received for that USDA funding, and it was saying it's for the Apple Creek slope stabilization. So it's good to get that in there and get that working. So, but yeah, I wanted to thank the board for allowing several of us and you to attend the MML conference. It was, I think I put that in a letter I sent to you, that it was one of the most productive conferences that I attended. And it was great to see Representative Hester Jackson McCrae, Senator Mike McClendon. Had an opportunity to talk to them while we were down there. So and others. It was very productive time. So thank you.
Anyone have any questions, comments for Mr. Robinson? Mr. Campbell, you have anything, sir?
I do not, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Campbell? Okay. We're down to Roman numeral 10. Is there a motion for a closed determination?
Mayor, I make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
Mayor. Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. If you will excuse us, please.
I gotta get mine.
After you.
All right, we're back. Is there a motion to come out of closed determination?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
make a motion to come out of the closed determination.
Is there a second to the motion by Alderman Bostic?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Robinson.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters in the Public Works Department, discuss and strategy session regarding pending litigation involving denial of the site plan application for Abraham House of God and pending litigation involving a former employee, and discussion regarding the prospective purchase, sale, and leasing of lands in Ward 3.
Do we have a second to the motion by Alderman Geis?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will excuse us, please.
Pizza.
I just want to sleep.
We're now back. Do we have a motion to come out of executive session, please?
Mayor, I make a motion to come out of the executive session.
Motion by Alderman Geis.
Second.
We have a second by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Do we have any motions to be made out of any
Mayor,
decisions in executive session? Alderman Johnson.
I move to declare approximately 50 acres located on the east and west sides of Interstate Boulevard between Nail Road and Expressway Drive as surplus property, no longer needed for municipal or related governmental purposes, and pursuant to Mississippi Code Section 57-7-1, to approve the sale of such property consistent with the terms as discussed in executive session, finding same to be good and valuable consideration.
Do we have a second by the motion by Alderman Johnson?
I'll second.
Second by the motion by Alderman Dupree. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Robinson.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Is there any other business?
Mayor,
Alderman Young.
I move to uphold the written reprimand issued to employee 558 dated July the 23rd, 2001.
Do we have a second by the motion by Alderman Young?
Second.
Second by Alderman Geis. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Any other business? Any other motions?
Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second to the motion by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? There being none, roll call, please, Mr. Robinson.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
The motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Therefore, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank the members of the board, Mr. Campbell, all the department heads, the spectators. You got a new hat. No, sir.